It's never a guarantee. The number one option's failure, right? That's the most ready option. That's the most doors wide open. That's the number one pick, failure. You can opt out anytime. You give up, you can tab out, you can be done at any time. Failure's the option. And then I'm speaking life here. I'm not speaking just in a cage. No matter what it is you want to do, right? You want to start your own landscaping business, failure. Things aren't going right for the first month. Fuck it, I'm done. What you do with that is what's going to make you, or break you.
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
Yeah, I mean, you're like the belt guy for 247. It's so funny because like when I started following you more, I was like, I'm like, how many belts does this guy have?
Yeah.
And then they talk about, double champ. I'm like, he's got more belts than that. Like, so what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
How many belts do you have total?
Like counting amateur too?
Everything.
1, 2, 8.
That's kind of a flex.
8.
When you have to
7 or 8.
Count on your hands.
Yeah. 7 or 8. I think I had two belts in 2 different weight classes as an amateur. I fought for a lot more than I actually lost more amateur title fights than I won. I think it was like 2 and 3 in amateur title fights, but then I ended up racking up 6.
Something to be said about that.
6 pro belts, 6 pro title fights. Yeah. So
that's like, and how does that feel for you? Like, what does that mean to you? Because it means something different to everybody, and especially outside looking in.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my gosh, he's doing it all.
Well, I mean, like if you like get on Tapology and look at my career, you know what I mean? Especially at the beginning, it does not look like I was going to become something as a fighter. I started out 0-2 as a pro, even coming off 2 amateur losses, or my last 2 amateur fights were both losses. And so I went 0-4 in a stretch there. And, then I went streaky, lost the first 2, won the next 2, lost the next one, won the next one, lost again. So I was like, dude, it was a battle to even be a 500 record. And there was a lot of things that played into factor of that, where I like wasn't settled in the right, environment or gym and stuff like that. But by the time that I challenged De Jesus for the featherweight title at 247 first, and I got beat. And then, by the time I earned back that right to fight for that belt was after that big win over Skylar Sudo. It was right out of Bellator. And, I ended up, we had fight of the year. Ryan was like, told my wife, he's getting a title shot again. So we ran it again. And that was just like, finally, you know what I mean? Because it kind of like eluded me my whole career. And then it was like, finally I became, what I knew that I could be.
Or started to become, right? Because like walk me through that mindset where, you challenge this belt, you lose, and now you're fighting some guy out of Bellator, which people were like, oh man.
So it was weird how it worked out. I ended up losing to De Jesus, and then lost again after that to Hayes during the COVID show. And it was like, at that point, I even said to my coaches, like, maybe that's it. You know what I mean? Maybe I peaked. Maybe I became that. And they're like, oh no, you just need to, and I took the time. I think it was hunting season. That was right at deer season. And then the next day I was out in the woods, just by myself. Didn't even really care if I shot a deer or seen a deer or anything. Just, man, I was in my own head all day long. And, basically just had a come to Jesus moment with myself. Like, what are you going to do? You done? You're going to keep going? And it was like, nah, you got more in the tank. So, come back to the gym, right back into it, just like we did before on any other loss. And, the next round up was against Matt Gaffney, who was a state champion wrestler out of Wisconsin. So it was like, and I remember being nervous, like, because my back was to the wall. It was like, it's do or die. And ended up finishing Gaffney in the first minute. And then, they were gonna do the show in Johnstown, which Johnstown's fairly close to me, and they needed me on the show, like with ticket sales and everything, and I wanted to be on the show. And dude, we went through 6 opponents. I think I signed 5 or 6 contracts. I'd sign, they'd pull out a couple of days later. I'd sign, they'd pull out a couple of days later. We were down to 2.5 weeks out, and Ryan asked me, he was like, why don't you want to fight this pseudo kid? I was like, who are you talking about? He's like, it's Skylar Pseudo. I was like, I don't know who he is. Like, you never even brought that name up to me. Well, he was confusing me with Hayes. Apparently they were looking at him for Ethan Hayes, and I don't know if Hayes turned him down or what, or whatever, it didn't work out. And I was like, send me his info. They send me the info. I look him up. Like, dude, we're 2.5 weeks out. Like, I need to be on the card. You need me on the card. Let's run it. And,
why not?
Yeah.
Why
And,
not?
at the time he was 4-1, last fight right out of Bellator. Super tough kid. And it was another one of those do or die moments. It was like, if I'm not on, I can lose. And that was the night that I just cut it loose. You know what I mean? I just let it fly. And everything just felt right. I opened up, like, did everything that I needed to do. Went down to the wire with him, ended up winning a split decision. And then, like I said, it was fight of the year. I had that big, it looks like the Undertaker choke slam where I caught his kick and like picked him up and slammed him on the mat. But, yeah, and then bouncing back, next up was Kevin Barberina, for the featherweight belt. So
you used the momentum on one and just keep it going.
pretty much, yeah. Once I got through the pseudo fight, then it was just like, for me, you know what I mean? Like, the Barberina fight, I come out, and I mean, I was in the best shape, and I remember going into the 3rd round, not even feeling like I was in a fight, and I just put it on that kid. I mean, right from the get-go, that's the fastest I've ever started. Hurt him with a couple body shots, dropped him with a knee. Like, that was one of the fastest that I've ever got going. And I had it in my head, like, I knew I was the champion that night. Like, I knew I was going to win the belt that night. And, after that, then it was just like, man, I felt so comfortable in there.
Do you think a lot of that comes from like the way you approach it mentally? Because I know I've been in situations. We're going to try to use metaphors here because you're in a different game than I am. But, whether I'm working on something creatively or working on something at work, trying to figure something out, and I'm in my head about it, I tend to perform bad. Like, for example, we're clearing buildings and breaching.
Yeah.
And I'm in my head about how to approach this breach, how I am in the stack. Something that I do all the time, but like I'm in my head about it.
Yep.
And I'm not hitting it correctly, or I'm entering the rooms incorrectly. And then another day, I'm feeling good. I want to be at training. I'm feeling great, and everything just moves smoothly. Do you think it's like, what is it for you that you seem to operate better or in that flow state?
So you can't overstimulate yourself, right? Like, you can watch film, study film, but there's a fine line between studying film and watching it too much to where you get over, like, you know what I mean? You start getting in your head. You're like, oh man, I don't know if I can deal with this or deal with that. But I kind of find a neutral balance of where it's just like, I'll watch something like a film, for example. I'll watch film, right? I'll take my data down from it. A week or two goes by, watch it again. Like, maybe look for something else. Take the data down. So I'm not sitting there every single night, like, becoming obsessed with it, right? To
Task saturation.
Yeah.
Getting saturated with.
Yeah.
With
To where I literally get it over into my own head. And, building up and going into stuff like that, I think it's just repetitions, right? Like, when I started working with the coaches that I'm in with now, I think we started back in 2017. Like, working with them, just, they've got me to where I'm so comfortable, right? Like even just like we're getting down to technique and stuff in the drilling and everything that we do. Like, you just get so comfortable being in the fire, right? And that's like what makes Ilya Tapora so great, right? He's never like gets overwhelmed in the fire, right? Like, he can be in a firefight and he's still disciplined.
That's his home.
Right? And that's what happens, right? You get in the heat of the moment, and then you become undisciplined. And I always say, it's one of my favorite quotes. When shit hits the fan, you fall back on the highest level that you prepared at, right? So
That's so true.
Bullets
I
start
stand on
flying,
that.
right?
Yeah.
You're gonna fall back. And in the MMA, like if you were a lifetime wrestler, but you're a really good striker now, and shit hits the fan, you're gonna wrestle. You know what I mean? And it just
Ain't that the truth?
that's how it goes.
No, and that's very true. So it's always, I always tell people, especially in the industry I'm in, is always train, always train, always train, always learn, because you move that needle, that's what you're going to resort to, right? Like
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
never
definitely.
train, you see this all the time where you get good MMA fighters and then they're in a panic moment and they start doing the,
Yeah.
the hands out
Yep.
or
They start
trying
getting
to-
out of position.
Yeah, and you're
Yep.
like, that's not what was trained. Or
Yeah, yeah.
boxers, right? They got the nice foot movement, and then they get that shot,
Yeah.
and now they're resorting to their oh shit training, as I say.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, the higher level that you compete at, the more of a chess match it becomes, right? So the higher level that you're going at, the guy's better. And, that's why we start out with amateur careers and we build up and build up and build up. And like you put a beginner pro against a seasoned pro, like it's going to be a slaughterhouse. You're leading the lamb to the slaughterhouse. You know what I mean? And you just see that repeatedly over and over and over again in people's careers and stuff. Now, granted, there's a handful of guys that are legit, like they just pick it up super fast, right? And they come out and maybe they have 3 fights and they can go beat a guy that's got 12 fights. Yeah, I mean, that's just
It's the exception, not the rule.
exactly.
Yeah. So I guess, where are my manners? This is the one with Ethan Goss, bro. I didn't even introduce you.
Yeah, we
I
just started.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
figure the man doesn't need an introduction, but if you're in any of the MMA game around here, I'm sure you've heard the name. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate you for coming this way and getting on the Relentless Project. One thing I like to do is kind of get people to know who Ethan is. Right?
Yeah.
Not obviously fighter, yeah, but who is Ethan? You come out of Central PA. No
Yep.
disrespect, I call it bumfuck Egypt. Right?
That's it.
It's
You're
a little
right,
far
dude.
from where I am.
You're right.
The only time I'm in Central PA is when I'm crossing it to get to Jersey or New
Yeah.
York. So tell us a little bit about like your upbringing, right? You're a blue collar guy.
So I live in a town called Petersburg, PA, and we don't even have a stoplight, right? Well, I live in the outskirts of the town, I guess. I mean, there's I think I graduated with a total of 60 kids in my high school class. Born and raised on a farm. I always say, born and raised on a farm and fed off the beef we raised and the potatoes we planted. My grandfather was ran a sawmill, and my great grandfather, he was an electrician, and my great grandfather, he was a stave mill guy, and he's the one that actually ended up in the area. He came from a different area and ended up where we're at now. And my family has always been like hardworking, go-getting people. My great-great-grandfather, him and the doctor were the only 2 people that owned a vehicle back in the early 1900s. So doctor obviously making good money, and then the other one's the guy that's cutting slats for like whiskey barrels and stuff.
Yeah,
So
that vehicle's for work. The other one's for leisure.
and it just trickled down the line to where we have like 350 acres. It was like 380, but with all the houses that were subdivided off of it for my uncles and family, and like pretty much my whole family on my dad's side live on the same road.
A little compound.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a nice little 2-mile stretch where I'm the very first house on the left, and then like my Graham's place up on the left was the very last place, and up at the farmstead. But yeah, we grew up, always having something to do, right? And my dad was a slave driver. Like when we were kids, he would always make us do stuff. And of course, when you're young at the time, you want to dick off and screw off and all that shit, so you hate it. But the older you get, you realize what he did for you, right? And you realize what he created for you, because by the time like I was able to go out and work other jobs, I was leaps and bounds ahead of everybody in like the construction field and all that stuff. People my age, like most people didn't realize I was like, at the time I was 24 years old. Most people thought I was 34. They were like, you don't act like you're a 24-year-old. It's like, well,
I've been working since I was 12.
Yeah, exactly. Like when summer would release, like we were in elementary school, me and my older brother, like we wore our work boots to school, and Dad picked you up in the dump truck, and you went to work with him.
See, that's wild.
And
it's like everyone's getting ready for summer break.
We would work 4 days a week. On Wednesdays, every Wednesday, we would go to the what they call the Belleville Sale Barn, like an auction. It's just like a big flea market thing. Yeah, we would go to that with my grandparents every Wednesday, and Dad would pay us $20 a week. And that was so like every Wednesday we go spend our $20 at the flea market on dumb shit. But yeah, it just not, you know what I mean? Our whole life was like that. And my dad does everything from tearing buildings down to putting new buildings up. Like, I mean, just stuff we done on the farm, fabricating, welding, you know what I mean? Mechanic work, anything, like building projects and cars and stuff like that. And, you know, I was just always around that my whole life and was always made to do something. Like, you know, we were never allowed to sit in the house and play video games. And we had them, you know, we did have games and stuff, and there was times we did it.
Like, that's a different mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you develop a different mindset when you grow up with your hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Like a day like today where it's beautiful out, you know what I mean? If we were inside playing a video game on a day like today, he would freaking come in there, and one, you'd have a foot up your ass. Two, you didn't dare tell him you didn't have anything to do, because then you had a lot to do. Because he would go weed eat the garage or do this or do that. But like, and my dad didn't do really much of the, like, growing up. I mean, we went and did hay and stuff with my uncles mainly run the farm part, and it's like a hobby farm. It's not like a farm where they, you know, are milking cows and stuff. And
so it's a farm for fun.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a hobby farm. Yeah. And like back in the day, they used to farm for money and stuff. Like back when my grandfather was running it and everything. But you know, we would go out and do hay, and I was the youngest grandchild out of 11 of us, I think, and I was always the youngest grandchild. So I couldn't throw the hay bales because I was just wee little, right? And everyone else had to throw the bales, and I would either ride in the tractor with Pap, or I would. And once I got to the point where I could pick a bale up, I was on the wagon, you know, setting the bales in place.
Like, you got hail to make up for. You're the only one throwing hail now.
Yeah, pretty much. But man, it was just you know, my whole life was like that. It was, you know, my whole family, both sides of my family, like my mom's side of the family, my grandfather worked for the state. One of my uncles worked for Norfolk Southern. Like, they do the Hell Week where they're 7 days, like they get after it. My mother, you know, she worked at the local paper mill, or the paper plant, and it's been there for like 30 years. And everybody just pulls their weight, and you know what I mean? It's just a blue collar working.
You're the epitome of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're Mr. PA.
Yeah.
We got to get that to stick. Wolverine's gone. Mr. PA's here to stay.
We'll have to have that stick down in Florida.
Yeah. Actually.
Yeah.
So tell us about that before we get into, because I want to learn, like, how do you go from this blue collar working with your hands to now fighting in a cage? At a level, you're at a different level now. You're fighting for PFL. Yeah. Tell us about that, and then we'll go back. I like to jump around.
Yeah, no, that's cool. The PFL thing, it was out of the blue. I was in talks with CFFC about going down to Atlantic City August 31st, and this is a little funny story, but they reached out. They wanted me to look at this guy. We liked it a lot. Just about ready. That was like a Saturday. I told him, I'll let you know by Monday. I talked to my coaches. I'll give you an answer Monday. That was a Saturday. We pretty much all agreed on Saturday that we were going to do it. Sunday morning, I think it was Sunday morning, either Saturday night or Sunday morning, I get a text from my agent, Rich Chow. August 21st, PFL opportunity. You interested? Like, oh, shit. Like, what's the deets?
Yeah.
Gave me the details on it, right? And ran through it with the coaches quick. And by Sunday evening, I had the answer. Like, yep, let's run it. You know what I mean? Let's do it. And so the guy that I was supposed to fight for CFFC is the guy that Justin Patton's fighting now, Frank Wells.
Oh, you just passed the torch. That's all.
Yeah, I told Aries from CFFC, like, I messaged him right away, and because I don't like to let people hanging. Like there's a lot of shitty people in this business.
No, that
whether
speaks
promoters, matchmakers, fighters, you know what I mean? Anything. There's a lot of shitty people in this business, and I've never ever once operated that way. I've always been honest, and I've always been straight to the point. Right, because I've never wanted to be that guy that somebody made a post about on Facebook. Don't sign this guy. He's gonna pull out for no reason. Da da da. I've only ever pulled out of fights when I've had to, and I think there's been 2. Like one was a dislocated knee, like 2 weeks out, and the other one was the injury for the first Brady fight, or the one I was supposed to fight Brady and had to have required surgery. So like I've always been straightforward. So I reached out to Aries right away and was like, hey, I didn't want to leave you hanging. Just wanted to let you know we got signed to PFL, took the opportunity. I wish you the best. If you need help finding the fight, like I know a couple people. And I didn't end up, I was going to tell him, hit up Justin. You know what I mean? But he ended up hitting up Justin on his own. So, because Justin and I have created like a special bond as like training partners and battle brothers. I mean, we literally had a very similar trajectory in our career, and both of us, we've headlined and co-headlined shows here in Pittsburgh for 247 for the last, I don't know how many years. And up until the last show, we were undefeated when we were on shows together. So like he would get it, and we always said it was like a 1-2 punch. He'd get it started, I'd finish it up. You know what I mean?
That is interesting now that I think back on it.
Yeah, and it could have went the other way very quickly because they were, Justin was coming up, and he moved up to the featherweight division, and he started getting a couple wins, and they put him on the spot right in the ring. I think it was the night that I defended against Calvin Harbaugh, and they put Justin on the spot right in the ring, like, you want to fight Ethan if he wins tonight. And to Justin's, and this is what made me get like all the respect in the world for him, because Justin could have easily turned it and been like, yeah, I want Ethan, I want the winner next. Like, and then we would have had, which would have been great for 247.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because
great for business. But where he was like, no, like we've been training together some. Like he's like, I don't really, see the need for him to damper my shine or me to damper his. Like, it's a bigger picture here. And I was like, all right, I gained the utmost respect for him on that, and from that point on, we just became workhorses together. And like when I come out to Pittsburgh, that's the guy I'm looking for. Him and Kama, like they're the guys I'm looking for to come out here to work with and train with. And so he, going back from that, we just kind of built together, in our whole career. So it was awesome to see him get the CFFC opportunity. That was kind of reached out to me, because I was always like, and I just like 1 year ahead of Justin in this career, because I started a little bit before him, like a year or 2 years before him. So I was always kind of like the same steps I was taking, like he was right behind me, like the step behind me taking the same steps. So it's awesome to like watch us both kind of just get to
when it's like you're both carving your way.
Yeah.
And you're carving it at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's cool to see that, because I've got to sit with Justin, and dude, he's as solid as they come.
Yeah, he's an amazing person. Yeah,
and he could easily turn that and took it to the bank.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he could have been, and most people would have. Most people would have been like, "F yeah, fuck yeah, I want the title." Da da da. Like,
and then actually later, like, bro,
narrow vision, right? And the amount of growth that dude's made, from his last amateur fight to where he is now is just unbelievable. But he's in the right hands. He's working with the right people, with Isaac, with Chris. He's working with people that care about him, and people that make sure that he gets to level up to the next step. But back to the original where you said, how does a guy like me get into this? When I was a kid, I loved pro wrestling, and I grew up in the Hogan, Nitro, you know what I mean? The Stone Cold Steve Austin era.
What they call the Attitude Era.
Yep. I grew up in the Attitude Era with the Monday Night Wars and everything, and that was back when wrestling was at its peak, right? You're flipping between channels.
It'll never be the same.
No,
yeah,
never.
SmackDown, Raw,
Never.
SmackDown,
Yep.
SummerSlam.
It would never be the same. But so I was a kid, and I was like, I loved that, and I would watch it every Monday night. And my parents really hated it. Like I would always have it on the TV. I remember they wouldn't. They'd be like, "You're not watching that dumb shit tonight." And they'd have something on the TV, and I'd have a little TV sitting on the ground plugged in so I could watch it too. Like, but as I got a little older, you know, The Ultimate Fighter came out. I was like around 11, 12 years old when it came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is real fighting," right? And just from the pro wrestling stuff, I wanted to get into wrestling in school because I heard school got wrestling. So I walk into the wrestling room thinking like I'm going to be smacking kids with chairs and shit, you know, at 6 years old. And now I find out that it's a little different. And, you know, I just started wrestling it from like first grade. And, you know, then when the Ultimate Fighter came out, I seen that. I always loved it. And then, dude, I just had a knack for it. Like I could watch it, see what the guys are doing, and I could do it. And I got an older brother who's got, you know, older friends and stuff, and we would always, you know, scrap around and wrestle around, and I'd always beat all of them. My brother, if you guys never met my brother's 6'3", 250, 260 pounds. Like he robbed all the titty milk from me. I mean, he's got a full head of hair, straight teeth. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get any of the nutrients I needed to be the nice big boy.
Shit.
But
That was funny.
yeah, I mean, he got my mother's side of the family, like my uncles and my grandfather and stuff, they were all big guys. And my dad's side's more built like me. But yeah, and so I would always like, you know, kind of always get the better of like these guys wrestling around. I remember, I think it was a 2-a-day practice for football. It was in between the practices, and it was my brother's senior year. I was 2 years behind him. Like 3 of the seniors, like in between the practices, wanted to wrestle. Like we were dicking around in the wrestling room, and I remember like 3 of them. Like I went through 3 of them in a matter of like 30 seconds. Like shoot in, I'd submit them. Shoot in and submit them. Like we'd start scrapping, I'd submit them. So I just always wanted to do it, right? And by the time I got out of school, right, sports ended, all that stuff. I found a gym over in State College called Lionheart Titan Fitness. Couple guys that were there. Tyler Saltzman, Ben Grove. Actually, Bill Algio started there. That's where he came from too when he was up there in school. And, you know, they had some, at one point in time, like the 09, 010 era, right around the time when I was graduating, they were like, I mean, they had Dominic Cruz come in there. They had Phil Davis there. John Jones come in to work with Cruz. This was all before anybody knew who the fuck any of these people were. Right.
Yeah.
And it was right before I got there too. So I didn't get to see this part, but the other people that I was training with was telling me about it. And, you know, I found this gym at 18, trained a little bit on and off, and fast forward till I'm 20, right? And me and my father had a major falling out. Like he was a hard ass, like with work. I mean, like I couldn't pull a nail out of the board the right way. And, we had a major falling out. We actually didn't speak for 4 years.
Oh, that's
I believe.
rough.
Yeah. And, you know, working with family, dude, it can be hard. It can be miserable.
It can be a blessing or a curse.
Yeah. And it was a combination of me being a young dickhead that didn't have his priorities right, and dad being a slave driving guy, right? More so probably me on my end, you know. Now that I get older and look back at it, but like, and since then we've patched up and, you know, we work together now. We're like best friends. We're with each other every day, and we get along better now than we ever have.
That's good news.
But,
good news.
Yeah, at that point I had nothing, right? I had no job because he fired me. No job, no money.
Fired by the old man.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he don't fuck around.
No,
you gotta respect that.
I got fired at like 12 years old. Like I've been fired more times than I can count. Like made
By
to
the
walk
same
home.
damn company. Can
Yeah,
you believe
fired,
that?
made to walk home. Like, yeah, we I lost my train of thought. But
My bad.
yeah, we
Oh, no job, fired.
yeah,
You
no
found
job,
this gym.
fired. Right. Found this gym. I remember I ended up having my brother left and went to the military, and I remember he ended up giving me $100 in money to make it through a week because I just started this job as a mechanic at a local truck garage, and making like $10 an hour or something back in. And so I had to like borrow $100 off my brother just to be able to. And that money I took and I just started going to the gym and training. And I knew Saltzman from over there. Saltzman at the time was making his pro debut. He was a stud amateur guy. And, you know, I went over there and just got my ass beat for months until finally one day it just started clicking for me and I just started getting a little better over there. And, you know, after he left and a couple of the other guys left, it went to shit there. So it was just down to me and another guy. And I'll plug this other guy because he's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. His name's AJ Madden, and he's actually like a consultant for business. And to me, he was a life coach. You can find him on Instagram, and his books are on Amazon, audiobooks. Coach AJ Madden. He interviews like big time major people, and he is one of the smartest business guys that I know. But his philosophy and like what he preaches is just life in general, right? It's just like what you do with life in general. And when you run into people like him who've got unbelievable support for you, right? And they believe in you more than you believe in yourself, and they do everything they can to help you. And then it's like you can't quit, right? You can't walk away from it. You got to ride it out until the end. You got to see how far that you can actually take it. And to this day, I haven't seen AJ in years, but to this day, every fight day, I get a phone call from him. I get text messages. He sends me his podcast, like people that he's interviewed. You know what I mean? And he's interviewed people like Brian Cain, Kobe Bryant's fucking agent. Like, I mean, he's interviewed some massive
Hold
people.
on. I think I may have read one of his, listened to one of his audiobooks.
Yeah, he interviewed me. I did one of his podcasts. But yeah, AJ Madden, his name. He's over in State College, originally out of like Lock Haven area. He's was roommates with Phil Davis in college and good friends with him. He actually introduced me to Phil whenever we were fighting at Bellator in State College, and Phil and I were both on the card, and like we stood there and had a good talk and stuff. But one of the most genuine human beings you'd ever meet. Done more for me than he could ever imagine. You know what I mean? Just helping me with mindset and just in life in general, like how you go about life, how you go about doing anything that you want to do or accomplish. And yeah, just, you know, wanting to be different because nobody's ever done it from where I'm from, right? Like I said, I grew up in the sticks, ain't in a place nobody's ever heard of, and nobody's ever done this shit. And now we're starting to see a couple people come in, you know, like Kyle Geisinger, that Caleb Lighty kid, Travis Lemon, you know, a couple people from like the area where I'm from is like starting to come in, and we've had there was one or two before me. Ryan Everhart from Huntington. He was a good wrestler and stuff. He started a little bit before me. Nobody's went to the extent that I went to with it. Like nobody's pursued it like as hard as I did. And you know, somebody, I think it was actually Ryan one time, commented on Facebook and was like, "You're the greatest combat sports athlete to ever come out of Huntington County area." And I was like, I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, I mean, I'm one of the few, but yeah, I mean, I guess I set the bar for other people.
That's good.
But
leading the way.
Yeah, it takes so much dedication that, you know what I mean? People fall out real quick. And like, you know, you train, you know.
Well, and that's the thing, man. It requires to train just as a habit, right? As a hobby.
Oh, yeah.
Requires a certain level of relentlessness and perseverance. And that's for fun, right?
Yeah.
Or for conditioning or whatever you call it. Now you're training just to, now there's a level of training to just be competitive with the industry you're in.
Yeah.
And then there's the top level of training where you're like, I have to be at a certain level if I want to make it far.
Yep.
So that's the 1% of the 1% of the 1% doing it. You know, because they say 1% of all adults train any martial arts.
Yeah.
That's the Aikidos, karates, Taekwondo.
Yep.
That's everything. How many of those are doing it on the amateur / pro level?
So like you look at it as like, how many people actually want to compete and fight? 1% of the population, right? How many people have more than one or two fights? 1% of that 1%, right? How many people make a pro run? 1% of that 1%, right? And then when we get to the point where it's like, how many people put together a 15, 20-year career? Like we see it on the UFC and we see it on PFL and we see it on
but
like
that's the highlight of the highlight.
Right? And it seems normal, right? Like there's millions of people doing it, but it's not. It's really not. And I've seen so much talent. Like in our area, we've had so much so many kids that could be better than I ever could have been, but just don't have the commitment, don't have the dedication, don't have the drive to do it.
Or
and
too
that's
much
fine.
distraction.
Yeah,
I see
exactly.
a lot of distraction.
No outside distractions.
And it kills me, man, because I'll run into, like, I speak to a lot of people at different levels in this game, and I'll look at someone and I can just, you ever want something more for someone than they want for themselves?
Absolutely.
It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
And I take it personal because I'm like, dude, you have all this talent. If you just honed in, you could be great.
Yep.
But they're worried about,
exactly.
Yeah, they're worried about other things.
They're worried about chasing girls.
Yeah,
they're worried about going out drinking. You know what I mean? And it's fine.
That's fine. And if that's what you want,
if that's what you want to do. I mean, the biggest thing is I've always said, like, figure out what the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever the fuck you want to do, anything that's worth doing is worth doing with 100% effort, right? Everything you got to go into it. So to me, like, fighting, if it's worth doing it, it's worth me diving into it. You know what I mean? I'm diving headfirst into it. I'm giving it everything that I got, right? Could I do things differently? Yeah. Could I packed up, moved to another city with a big gym, and would I have been farther ahead than I am now? Maybe.
That's a way.
Yeah, that's a. Well, there's different routes you can take, right? And I was persuaded to go that way a lot, but I had a dead set in my mind. I'm going to be the first guy from my town, from my area, the first guy to ever pull this off by staying here. You know what I mean? By doing it here, bringing it here. Because at the time, it wasn't, and it still isn't super big. And I've said this, I don't know how many times. Like, you come out to Pittsburgh on a Saturday to spar at Stout. The whole city of Pittsburgh. You got what, 30 guys in the room, 40 guys in the room at most, right? Come to Altoona when it's sparring night and you got 4, right? So what I've said to people, and like what people don't understand, like Justin and I was just talking about, because Justin's come out the last couple of weeks on Mondays to train with me and do some sparring and stuff. And, you know, like what we built, like for myself and my career, what me and my coaches, what we've accomplished with next to nothing has been unreal. Like, it has been magical. You know what I mean? What we pulled off, winning amateur titles. Like, and it was even worse before, like way worse when I was over in State College training and it was just me and AJ, you know, showing up, and all we did was show up MMA spar, and then I would hit pads for conditioning. I won 2 amateur titles training like that. You know what I mean? At the time, I thought I was doing what I needed to do. I didn't know that there was this stuff. You know, ATT Happy Valley wasn't over there. You know, there wasn't anything like big coming to the area. And, you know, I just went what I thought was right. And then the longer I went, like if I could have linked up with Darren and Ray at the beginning of my career, man, my God, I would probably have like a 16-3 record.
But would you be the man you are today?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
And there's something to be said about training at that. How do I explain this? Like in law enforcement, we always train to the worst possible outcome.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Because if we started a scenario where someone's going to listen to you or someone's just going to go with what you tell them, we're not learning anything. But if we're starting a scenario where you're on your back, your holster's jammed, and that's where you're starting.
Yep.
If you can get out of that, you can get out of a guy listening to your commands.
Yep.
Right? Like with training, if you can make something out of the gym you're at with the equipment you have and the coaching staff, if you can make something out of that, when you get to Hollywood and you have the facilities to train, you have this stuff there, dude, you're going to appreciate that and use that at a different level than just starting there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? I always tell people I was forged in the fire in this business. Like, I became what I am by being the guy that, you know, was getting beat, by being the guy that was getting pushed, knocked down. You know what I mean? Every day I just, you know, no matter what happened, I just stayed the same course, right? Made the adjustments that I needed to make. As I got older, I made smarter decisions, made better decisions. I literally came from the trenches. Like when I say come, like I said earlier,
from the bottom. Now we're here. Yeah. There's a song about that.
I'm pretty sure I was conceived in the trenches. I was pretty sure I was conceived in a ditch. I don't know. I'd have to ask my parents, but So I literally came from the trenches, and then I came out. Everything I've ever done in my life, I was never the best at. Right, everything from wrestling in high school to football in high school to pole vaulting in high school. Everything I've ever done, racing the cars like I used to race, like I was never the best. I always had to put all my effort into it to become good or great at it. Right, and fighting, in the world of mixed martial arts, is what I became the best at out of everything that I've ever done. But it's been almost 14 years now for me to get to this point. And some people are fast progressors, some people are slow progressors, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? It was just it was my path. That was my route. That was my road. And like, for example, my opponent coming up here for PFL, Alexia Pogrande, that kid hit it quick. You know what I mean? He's had an undefeated 4-0 amateur career, off to 6-0 undefeated as a pro, hitting it quick, hitting his stride quick. You know what I mean? He's a fast starter. Cody Garbrandt, another perfect example, fast starter, won the world championship at 25 years old. Right?
I got to do a little seminar with him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I haven't spoke to Cody. I fought in the same card as Cody a few times, and I haven't seen him in years. But
my claim to fame, I'm in this class. He comes up to me and grabs my arm. He's like, "Damn, bro," and I'm like, "So, like, that's right. That's right."
Yeah, don't fuck with me, man.
No. We did a little wall. He was showing us a little wall tech. Like, if you have someone on the wall, and I never whizzer on the wall. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Yeah. I always like stay tight and close. And he's showing us this technique he uses to get off the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if that would ever work, right? He's like, oh, I love when people tell me that, right? Because I'm like, oh, let me show you. He hits me with that. He's like, oh, let me show you. So we're doing this little wall thing, and shit, we're fighting, and I guess what happens? I start whizzing because now I got a pressure over here, and then boom, he clicks this, twerks it in a way where I'm like, oh damn, puts me on the wall. I was like, I'll have to add that to my tool belt.
Yeah,
but and he's like,
and that's the cool thing about this sport too. No matter how long you do it, you can be in this sport 20 years and you got to pick something up from somebody. They could be less of an athlete than you or worse at the sport than you. You can see something.
I wouldn't say that about Cody. Not with me.
But you can watch somebody and be like, what the fuck did you just do? And they're like, well, this I did this. It's like, wow, I never looked at that. Like last night, I just learned a wrestling defense. I wrestled my whole life, but I was in the room with Caden Cassidy, who's my coach's son, who's the number 23 ranked 149er or 149 pounder in Division I college wrestling for George Mason. And he was in last night for sparring and stuff to work with me to help get ready for this camp. And they showed me a fucking wrestling technique, him and Dan, like a wrestling defense in a position. I was like, no shit. Never seen that before. Didn't that? No.
And the beauty of that is now you can take it.
Yeah.
And then maybe it didn't work out like it worked out for him, but now you apply that in a manner for you.
Yep. That's why you can't have an ego in the sport, like especially in the training room. Like you got to be a sponge. And even me at the level that I'm at, like I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I wrestled my whole life. You know what I mean? I've been striking for the last 14 years, like, and I hold world championship belts. But even then, like I'll take a guy that like Caden who's got one amateur fight. You know what I mean? He does something. I'm like, shit, show me what you did. You know what I mean? You got to be a sponge. You got to be able to accept it. You can't be like, you don't know less than me. I'm not learning from you. You know what I mean? Because you'll never get it. You'll never make it.
And it sucks because I've been in a room where I'm in quote unquote instructor.
Yeah.
But like that just means I'm the one showing something I know today. That doesn't mean I know everything.
You'll see more egos in the sport of mixed martial arts than you will anything. You'll see guys. I've seen I don't know how many gym fights.
I got you beat. You know where the egos lie? In the police training room.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Because anybody in authority position,
I'm like, bro, like, why don't you you're here. You have to be here and you're getting paid. Just go along with the show and learn something.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn anything, great.
Yep.
You got paid.
I 100% believe that.
Definitely. It's like, but I love when I'm in a room and I learn something, right? Like they'll be like, oh, what about this? And it's someone who maybe doesn't train. They're like, oh, what do you think about this in this position? And then I'm like, shit, I don't know. Let's figure that out right now. We'll live scenario it. And I'm like, oh, this is what I would do in this situation. Oh, well, this worked for me. And then I see it and I'm like, fuck, that does work. Let's try that.
Yeah.
It's a place it's a lab, dude. The training environment is a lab, right? You show what you got and you learn. If you're not using that opportunity to learn and you're just hitting mitts to feed your ego,
And in your case, in that case, it can be a life or death situation.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? 100 life or death situation. I've said it time and time again. Every police officer, every corrections officer, every one of them people that work in that type of field should they should be training. They should be learning something. They should know how to defend themselves at some point, right?
No, we have tools, right?
Exactly.
We have tools.
And it gives you confidence, though. Like, even when you're walking down the street, you're walking downtown Pittsburgh down here, right? And you always get some jack off. Maybe somebody's on drugs, somebody's drunk, somebody's doing something, But you have the confidence. Like, if a problem rises, like, you can handle it. You know what I mean? You're confident that you can handle it.
Yeah, and you approach things differently, right? When you don't have confidence, how do we walk? Head down,
Exactly.
slumped over. That's the people.
Do you ever see them people that got the big hump in their back?
Yeah.
That's what it's from. Poor posture.
And-
Posture is everything.
Yeah, and when you're looking for quote unquote a victim, you're looking for the person not paying attention, someone you can possibly take.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like you do it as fighters too. If you're evaluating someone, we do it whether we want to or not. We look at someone and we're like, well, I think I got this fight.
Yeah.
I think I can take him. Whether you're looking at his technique, his approach,
Yeah.
Without ever being in a cage with this person, you're going, I think I got it.
Yeah.
And you've never experienced one of their punches.
Yeah.
Right? But we get that from our training, our experience, and that comes with confidence, right?
Yep.
You're like, man, I just put in 2-a-days for 7 days in a row, and I feel great. This guy who shows up once a week, I got it.
Yeah.
And the thing about the fighting industry is you can get clocked,
Exactly.
and then your time's over right there. But it's that confidence. When you have that confidence, you walk different. You're up. You're looking. You're aware because you don't have that fear.
I always say in this sport, anybody can beat anybody on any given night. Like, if you and I gloved up and we're fighting each other, you could. I look at it as a 50% chance. You got a 50% chance of beating me, just like I do you. Maybe.
It makes me feel good.
But dude, you know what I mean? All it takes is one shot.
Yeah.
All it takes is one bad takedown for me, and I'm caught in a guillotine. You know what I mean? Like, we train all that stuff to get out of it and make it harder and harder and harder to get caught in that stuff. But dude, it's all it takes, and it can happen in the blink of an eye.
And it's you put yourself in a position, and you're like, shit.
Yep. As a fighter, I've said this before too. As a fighter, you put yourself on a pedestal in the center of a ring in an arena for everyone to judge, right? Every single person to judge you. And that's where that saying, the man in the arena, comes from. The man in the arena, that's the guy. Like from my perspective, like, being the fighter and stuff, like, even when it's all said and done and I'm done and retired from this game, I will always have the utmost respect for that guy. That's the man in the arena, because I know what he went through, right? I know what it took to get there, and I know what it took to continue to stay there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier. I have an utmost respect for people who willingly put themselves in these positions, right? Because I dabbled in it, and I learned quickly that, maybe this ain't for me.
Yeah.
It was cool. I lasted, not for me. But there's people who do, like you, man. This is how you feed your family. This is how. This is how you make bread. This is your thing. Yeah. This is part of who Ethan is.
You gotta be fucked up in the head to want to do it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Like, I just had a newborn daughter. She's 2 months old now, and I've had multiple people like, oh, you can train her to fight. And I was like, no. I mean, I'm going to train her to
defend herself.
Yeah. I was like, but I don't want her to. I mean, if she wants to fight, like, I'll be there for you. I'll teach you everything that I screwed up. You know what I mean? But do I want you to do it? Fuck no.
No, if there's a way you can support yourself and your family.
Exactly.
And
be smarter than me.
Do it.
I always said I can't. I had to fight because I couldn't sing or dance, right?
Somehow I feel like you got a little dance move.
I can.
I was about to say, I'm gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see that. Speaking of, things can happen in the blink of an eye. I did want to talk about the Brady Huang fight because, he's a guy who's known for his leg attacks.
Yep.
Right.
And I knew that.
And I'm sure you're very aware of that, man. And you came off of a 7-win streak.
Yeah.
Double champ. You have everything to lose. So I'm sure you're training like that. And then it was almost like in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
You know, from where I can see, because I get the benefit of doing the post-fight interviews, but the drawback is I don't get to be up front, right? Because by the time I'm up front, I got to run back.
Yeah.
Walk us through how you prepared for that and what was going on through your head throughout that fight. And then obviously what happened after, how you felt after, what kept you going. I just want to take a second to shout out a few companies who believed in me. You know, these were one of our first official sponsors, so huge shout out. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Carbo Jewelers, established in 1997 on the values of honesty and integrity. Whether you're searching for the perfect piece, need expert repair services, visit Carbo Jewelers in Newark's Ironbound District, where your jewelry is always in safe hands. This episode is also brought to you by Continental Jewelers, proudly serving Hudson County, New Jersey since 1964. Whether you're seeking a timeless piece or need expert repairs, they've got you covered. Visit Continental Jewelers, your trusted source for all things jewelry. You can find them on Instagram at Carbo Jewelers or online at carbojewelers.com. Lastly, big shout out to Carbo Trading. Besides coins, precious metals, and jewelry, if it could be traded and collected, he's probably got it. They can be found on Instagram at carbo.trading. You can find all of our sponsors out online on our sponsor page at therelentlessproject.com.
So, you know, getting ready, I was supposed to fight Brady the year before, earlier in the year or whatever. Yeah, the year before.
It's like April.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be April of the year before, but I got injured and ended up needing surgery. So when I come back, you know, we come back at 155 and defended the lightweight title against Chris Rollins, which at the time Chris was number 1 ranked pound for pound out of Virginia, I believe. And, you know, had a absolute masterful performance that night, you know, just straight up dominated Rollins and ended up getting a finish in the first round. Turn around a couple months later, same thing happens to me against Brady, right? Was it the best camp in the world? No. I didn't get any sparring in that camp. We were very limited on guys. I got injured twice. I got cut 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out. I dislocated my rib. The only 2 days of sparring that I got to do was when I went down to Virginia at 50-50 martial arts with Carlos Vera and Cossack, who's making his Dana White Contender Series debut here next week. Vera's already in the UFC. I got to go down there and spar those guys, but getting down, I mean, just the 2 sparring sessions that I did, you know, I got confidence out of because, you know, I went down there and held my own with these guys that are in the UFC. And, you know, they were pretty impressed with me as I was with them. But, yeah, I knew what Brady was bringing. And I've said this time after time after time, like, to this day, I don't think Brady's a better fighter than me. I think Brady had the quickest path to victory with his heel hook game. And I respect the kid so much. He's such a great person, great human being. But he always says, like, I don't look for him. Oh, motherfucker, you look for him. Like, you threw it in a 3-minute fight. Like, you threw it 2 or 3 times at me twice. I defended the first one, the second one. Like, you jumped it from guard. Like, you're fucking looking for guillotine or looking for heel hooks. Like, he would have threw a heel hook. He would have attempted heel hooks 100 times in that fight if he had to. Like, he's looking for, but that's his way to win. You know what I mean? And he's fucking amazing at it.
Dude,
he's got a world-class heel hook game. I knew that. But the one position that I didn't train it out of was like him pulling it from guard, like me on my back, or him pulling it from being in my guard. That was the one position that I didn't really like hardcore drill it from. I drilled it from me being over top of him, drilled it from him, like Imanari rolling into it, drilled it everywhere, but mainly that position. And like I said, the camp wasn't great. And I'm just telling you, you know, exactly what went on. The camp wasn't great, but it was the camp that I had. I've had camps like that before and went out and won. The only reason I lost that night was because I wasn't fucking good enough that night. That's the only reason I lost. And you will never, ever, ever hear me make an excuse and say, oh, you know, I lost because, you know what I mean? I couldn't train the last 2 weeks of my camp. No, bullshit. It's my choice to fight. I can pull out at any moment, whether I'm injured or not. You can ask Ryan and Hunter how many times it was fight week and I had a gash across my eyebrow, or the Calvin Harbaugh fight. Dude, I was in pain every day. I had a shoulder injury or like a collarbone injury, and my collarbone was like, I don't know if I stretched a ligament or something or what. I was popping. Like, you could take my collarbone and grab it and clunk it around. And like, I was in
not good.
horrible pain. I had to see a chiropractor 3 days a week. Like, that whole camp, I was hurt, but felt like I could train. Like, I could go through it. So I pushed through it. You know what I mean? And we ended up, it wasn't the greatest camp, but I ended up fucking doing it and winning. You know, same thing I tried with Brady, but I ended up losing, and it wasn't my night. And that whole night was fucking screwed up. Everybody in our locker room fucking lost. My teammate Diver got beat. My other teammate Schoenfeld got beat. Patton and I shared because they gave me my own locker room, and we let like Patton and my team in. Patton was like, "Oh, dude, just packed it." I was like, "Dude, jump in with us. Like, you're cool. You're part of the fucking team." So they were in our locker room. Patton got beat, and then like we got down the wire where it was like, man, it was down to me. And then I walk out, and like it's ready for me to go. They fuck up my song,
Dude. Yeah.
the most iconic song in 247, right? The one that everybody in the fucking arena knows what song's gonna be played when I make the walk, and they fuck it up.
It's all that mental friction, man,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm in the back, and you guys come out right where I'm doing the interviews. And I see you standing there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, let's just pause. It's
Yeah.
just quiet. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
didn't-
And I hear the radio chatter and shit, and I'm like, out of all songs to fuck up, like, why this one?
Ryan come out around the back, freaking pissed. I mean, he was pissed. And I'm like, whoa. And he's like, don't you move. And then Darren was like, he's like, you stay right the fuck there until your music hits. And then it took him fucking, I don't know how long
I think
until
it was like 5-10 minutes.
yeah,
It was long.
It was. It felt like at least 5 minutes. And it took them till they got him. It was like, why are you walking out? And then you heard somebody in the crowd, just play his fucking music. You know
Yeah,
what
the
I
crowd
mean?
started.
Yeah.
When the crowd starts asking for it, you're like, okay.
And you know, that's just sometimes things aren't your night, you know? And it was just that whole fucking venue, arena, I didn't like any of it. You know what I mean? I remember pulling up to it and was like, I don't like this. This is fucking...
Well, now there's
But
MMA at the venue.
Same
Now
thing
there's a
happened against Jesus. You know what I mean? Fucking I had a good camp. I had a good warm up. Had a lot of nervous energy in that one because I knew what type of guy I was stepping in there with, and I wasn't ready yet. You know, I thought I was, but I wasn't. And you know, I think it was a minute and a half into that fight, finger gets caught in the fence. I snapped into a V. Right, I caught my ring finger in the fence and it popped it and dislocated it, so it was shaped in a V, and I couldn't make a fist. I just felt like I was drowning in that fight. But dude, that's the way it goes. There's nights it's not your night, and there's nights that it's your night. Like, there's a lot of things that play into factor. And in this sport, it's hard to be, I say lucky, but it's hard to be lucky that many times in a row. You know what I mean?
I hate to be that guy, but like, is that something you feel like your team feels you would run back in the future, or is that
the Brady fight?
Yeah.
I would. My coach Darren didn't. He wasn't huge on it because the heel hook stuff, and he was like, "It's too." You know what I mean? He's like, I don't really like those guys that just focus on hardcore one thing. You know, I think my coach Ray would be fine with it. I think we would run it. You know what I mean? Darren would run it back, but obviously we're on to bigger, better things now. In the future, you know, we'll see what happens. But I would definitely run it back for sure. I would want to do it the same way at 145 pounds. Like, I want to correct the wrong, right? I wouldn't want to fight him at a different weight. I wouldn't want to.
You got to check that box, man.
I would want, just like how Connor did with Nate. You know what I mean? I would want to make everything the same to where I can correct that wrong. But yeah, dude, the kid's 4 heel hooks, 15-4 pro record. You know what I mean? 4 heel hooks in a row. He's a fucking phenom. You know?
Yeah, man. Those
And,
I
knew
can't
that coming
develop
in.
a defense.
I got bested. He was better than me that night. And do I feel like he's better than me overall? Do I feel like I at a 9 times out of 10, you know, can I beat him? Yes, I do feel that way. But what kind of fighter would I be if I didn't? You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. Walk us through this PFL journey. How's the layout for those who don't know? How's the PFL layout? You know, how's it been going for you? And then what's your next fight looking like?
Yeah. Basically all of it was new to me. We got a bunch of emails on the travel shit and stuff, and Then I found out like they wanted me down there Sunday. So we fight on a Thursday night and they want me down there Sunday by Sunday afternoon. I'm like, man, why are we so early? You know, because I've seen this Grande kid fight. I'm thinking like we're going to be one of the first 3-4 fights on the card. Poster comes out of the fight card. Bam. We're the last non-title fight on the main card, the main spotlight. I'm like, oh fuck. Like we're on the main card. And it's all because of him, right? It's all because all 6 of his pro fights have been there, right? He's hyped. They're pushing him. Like he's their boy. You know what I mean? And I'm the bad guy coming in. I'm the guy coming in to spoil the show, right? And
the heel, as the wrestlers would call it.
Exactly. I'm the heel. So all of this was like mind blowing to me. I'm like, oh shit! Like I'm at the point where I'm fighting at that level now, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go make the headlines and be one of the main spotlighted fights on the card. But yeah, other than just getting everything sorted, the flights and the coaches and the corners and going through all that shit and the paperwork, the fight kits and all that stuff. It's all annoying stuff. But it's all stuff. It's all what you have to do with it. This is the first time we signed this contract, and I don't know what happened. Everybody started coming to us. So I didn't really have to do as much traveling as I always did before, because at the level that I'm competing at, dude, I got to go. Right? I'm making 2-hour, 3-hour trips one way to get sparring in on the weekends. I'm training 6 days a week. I'm doing all this stuff. Like I'm running myself thin. You know what I mean? With doing all this stuff. But this is the first time where everybody, like people were like, I don't know if it was like, oh, he signed with PFL, I want to help. We've had a room full. Hoot Lee, Taylor Cahill, Justin Patton, Moose, who's on tonight. These guys all started coming in, and we all linked up and started working together. And it's just been a blessing. And I went from doing like 2 sparring sessions in the last camp to I can't even count how many now. I've a couple times a week, you know what I mean? Like this has been honestly one of the best camps that I've ever had in my whole career. And it's been a blessing that everybody wants to step up and help and stuff like that. And, we didn't really we kind of touched on it, but like with running my own business, working for excavation, like I'm at the point, and I'm slam busy right now. And I'm at the point where I'm working 6 days a week and I'm training 6 days a week. So like I got no fucking time. Like whatever day that I pick to train, whether it's a Saturday, that Sunday, I'm working, or I'm trying to get something done with work, or I'm trying to fix something that's broke down or something. So it runs you so thin sometimes, but it also has made me who I am. You know what I mean? And it's made me be that guy in the ring, and it's made me be that guy where I can go through this. I can go through it all,
Talk about a blessing, right?
Yeah.
Like we pray for this. And then we get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're like, damn, I'm here.
Yeah.
I got what I prayed for. What am I going to do with it?
I mean, I spent 14 years of my life for this opportunity, right? And it took that long to get it. And it's like, I'm not going down there to not give my best effort. You know what I mean? I'm not going down there to people, like there's a lot of hype on Grande, right? A lot of people watch him say how great he is, all this stuff. I don't really give a fuck about any of that shit, right? I know how good I am. I know what I can bring, right? Is he a raw talented kid? Yes. But like I said, he hasn't ran into an Appalachian Mountain boy like me that fucking dug a ditch to get here, Literally. Yeah, exactly. Dug the ditch to get here, right? Like, I know I've been in the wars. I've been in the fights. Like, I got 19 pro fights. This is my 20th pro fight. This is his 7th. I know who I am as a fighter. And this is all stuff that he's going to figure out, at some point. Like, he's step by step by step. He's got to figure out what he's going to be and how much does he really want it. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't really want it. You know what I mean? So I dug the ditch to get here. Where I don't want to say he wasn't spoon fed or anything, but he, had the opportunity to get it very quick and early. I fought anybody from 5'5" to 6'3" in the featherweight division. So I don't give a fuck that he's 6 foot tall. I don't care that he's got a slightly longer reach than me. You know what I mean? None of that shit matters. None of it matters. The arena down there doesn't matter. The people in the arena doesn't matter. What PFL thinks doesn't matter. Because I know everybody in that arena is going to be thinking it's a clear wash for him. But surprise, surprise. Guess who's coming?
They picked the wrong guy.
Surprise, surprise. Guess who's coming?
How does it feel to have, I don't want to say pressure, but this additional pressure of you're going into enemy territory. You know, your team, as in the people who show up every night to watch you fight at 247, a lot of those people aren't going to be there, right? Like, that adds to the atmosphere and the environment, which feeds into our mental acuity for a fight.
This is a good question.
Like, how does that feel?
No pressure at all. The pressure's on him. He's expected to win, right? He's expected to go out and perform the way he's been performing against these lower level pros that he's been fighting. Right? He's expected to go out and dominate and just run through me. I'm not expected to win, right? They're not expecting me to come down and put up a great fight. And they can say whatever they want, but that's the way it is, right? He's their boy. They're hyping him. They're building him. They want to keep getting him to the next level, right? I'm the next step for him. For me, what do I have to fucking lose? You know what I mean? I spent 14 years to get here. I'm here, right? What do I have to lose? I'm here. Why would I not go down there and give it my all? Why would I not go down there and let it fly, right? Because at that moment, for them 15 minutes or less, I got to give a shit about nothing less. Don't care about my health. Don't care about nothing. Take the chance and run with it, right? Fight the smartest fight that I can fight, right? Do everything that I need to do. Listen to my coaches and just run with it. I don't care. You know what I mean? I felt more pressure going into the Brady fight, feeling like I had to create something special or spectacular to get noticed, because here I am, I'm riding a 7-fight win streak, right? I'm the number 1 ranked featherweight in the state of Pennsylvania, number 2 ranked pound for pound. Like, I'm the fucking guy. I'm the guy that needs to be next, but why ain't they looking at me? Why ain't they looking at me? So I'm like, I'm putting more pressure on myself in that instance. I'm the guy expected to win. I'm the guy that everyone's come in and watched and be like, okay, we haven't seen this guy lose. I mean, I haven't lost in 5 years up until that fight. You know what I mean? Like, I turned the page, turned the corner, and made a run with it. And to me, that was more pressure. This is, I love this. Like, people don't realize it, but my whole amateur career was this shit. I literally was the away guy. I was the road warrior guy. I'm not from Pittsburgh. Like,
That's true.
I'm from 2.5 hours away. Pittsburgh just adopted me because I come out here and I fought the be all end all at every fucking featherweight they had, until Pittsburgh was like, hey, you're all right, kid. We kind of like you. You know what I mean? How about we start getting you fights?
You fit the culture, man. Like, Pittsburgh was built on blue collar, bootstrapping.
Definitely.
Coming from nothing and making something.
And to me, like, I'll forever, ever, ever be grateful for this city. It's been my second home, right? I could have easily went the other. I'm in Central PA. I could have went the other way and went to Philly.
No,
right?
don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, don't do that.
And I've been in both cities, but
He's the middleman.
yeah. The fact that this crowd out here and the people and the sport in general and the promoters and everything, the fact that they accepted me, as one of their own, and I became the stepchild for Pittsburgh, that literally is like, I can never repay that. Like, I'm forever in debt for that. Because without Pittsburgh, I probably wouldn't have had a career. You know what I mean? I would have been that guy having to go fight all the tough guys.
Now payments due.
Yeah, exactly. And, like I said, I took a fight on 4 days' notice as an amateur against a 7-0 kid that was undefeated with first-round finishes in Toledo, Ohio. Cut 20 pounds in 4 days, drove 7.5 fucking hours to Toledo, Ohio, ended up putting an ass whooping on this boy, won my first amateur title, right? And, like, I wasn't supposed to go up there and win. He was the man. Same thing. Like, I fought Richie Canalina here in Pittsburgh for the amateur belt. You know what I mean? We ended up having the fight of the year. I lost a split decision that night. Very next fight, Jarrell Hodge, number 1 ranked kid in the country out in Ohio. A couple months later, it was in November when I fought Richie. The first time we fought, I actually fought in Altoona, November 16th. I won that fight in the second round, stepped out of the fight, had a text from Joe Demore, the matchmaker for Pinnacle. hey, we're still looking for a guy for Richie. I text him back. Is it a title fight? He's like, yep, we'll make it a title fight. I said, you got your fight. See you in 10 days. So I fought twice in 10 days, the first fight with Richie. And then right after Richie, right to Ohio. Like I lost to Richie, went to Ohio to fight Jarrell Hodge because no one else was going to step in there and fight him. You know what I mean? Went out there, had a better performance than I even thought I was going to have. You know what I mean? Just ended up losing, but hey.
You're just clocking in to work.
Exactly.
That's
when I
what
was
this
an
is.
amateur, man, I was anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. And then it took me a while to get out of that mentality as a pro, because in a pro, that's when it matters, right? Like you need to be smart about you need to be Lucas Siebert. Lucas Siebert's a genius with how he's running his career. You know what I mean? It's your career. It's your choice, right? And he's had the ability to be able to very, like, go through, pick smart fights for himself to get started. You know what I mean? Push the pace, push everything that he needs to do. He's what now, 6-0?
Develop.
Yeah.
You took the time to develop. And I think it's very important in the amateurs to do it, to approach it the way you did. I think it's becoming a thing where
Definitely.
the amateurs are trying to be like
certain people.
pros.
Yep. Certain people can get away with it. Like, my coach's boy, Caden, give that kid 3, maybe 4 more amateur fights and he's ready. He's a Division I, top 20 ranked.
Those are the worst.
Division I college
Wrestlers
wrestler.
are the worst.
So, like, he's already mentally there. He's got a lot. You just need to fine tune him up, and he's gonna be ready to go. Get him 3 or 4 amateur fights. He's already got 1, so get him 3 or 4 more amateur fights. He's ready to go. Right? We're back in my day. I say that like I'm fucking old. Which I am at this point. 33.
Okay. Damn, dude, you're literally only a year older than me.
Dude,
You're
people
fucking doing this shit.
think I'm 40, especially because I've been around so long, dude. I started this in 2012, right? Fought 6 times. I had like a 2-year amateur career, a little over 2-year amateur career. 6 fights 1 year, 5 fights the other, right? 11 fights in 2 years, yeah. And so I went pro too soon. I should have done like a 3-year amateur career, right? And really found out myself as a fighter, and then went. But yeah, as you're saying, you see these kids now where they're like, "Oh, I get 4 fights, I want to go pro." Man, that's the biggest career killer you can have.
There's
if
not
you're
enough
going
learning.
pro before you're ready.
Yeah, it's not enough learning.
At some point, you get to the point where you're going to fight better people as amateurs than you are at the beginning of pro, right? Like Cam Allgaier. Cam could have went pro. He was 6-0. Could have went pro. Last 2 fights were against Hunter Starner, who was an absolute stud. They were both 6-0. And then the next one was Siebert. And Cam lost all the wind out of his sails when he lost against Starner. Like he always said this, and we always just thought he was joking, but he was always like, "Oh, I'll probably fight until I lose, and then I'll be done." That was what he did. Fought until he got beat finally, and then he was like, "Fuck it, I don't care." He ended up. I think the only reason he fought Siebert is because he felt pressured into fighting. I mean, I haven't seen the kid in the gym. Belt promotions the other Saturday was the first I've seen him in months. You know what I mean? Like he just out doing life. You know what I mean?
And that's his goal. That's his road.
That's his choice. Yeah.
There's people like me
It's a
who I'm
shame.
like, I'd love to see him
Yeah.
back.
It's a shame because he had all the talent in the world to make a major run at it, but you got to want it, right? And that's what like Caden even said. Like he wants to make a short amateur run and figure out if he loves it and loves doing it, and he'll make a run. I mean, if Caden makes a run, that kid will blow me out of the fucking water with what he accomplishes. Because that kid is just the whole package. Everything that you want in a fighter is what he has.
I feel like you have to put that in his ear.
Yeah, I've told him multiple times. I told him he'd be better than I ever could dream of being. Right? I was. He's got the whole package, and the people in this industry that know him, they know that. They've seen it in his first fight. Right? But yeah, we'll see what he wants to do. Like, and I'm not. You can't ever tell somebody they want to do this. Right? All you can do is persuade them and help them. And I always look at it as like the position that I'm in now. I'm like the gym leader. I'm the head guy. I'm the highest level guy in the room, and I've been that for a lot of years at my gym. And but I'm big on giving back. Right? I'm big on giving to what was given to me. Like we got a couple young kids that are coming in and starting, and the one kid we call him Little Gotti, sent me a message and was like, "Hey man, thank you for working with me and like getting me to come to jiu-jitsu. I know you don't have to." I was like, "Listen, dude, I'm doing for you what was done for me. You know,
Passing the torch, man.
Yeah, I'm giving it back, right? I'm giving it back."
Who are we as people, you know, and this is, I feel like, a culture nowadays where we want to take.
Oh yeah,
But then it's like, we don't want to give.
exactly.
And
Yep.
like me, I think I give more than I take, which is probably a problem. But
That's how I try to be.
yeah, and it's like, if you can pass it along and see people go further than you could ever go, that's a win. That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
win in my book, man. Like, it's
Definitely.
always successful to me.
It's like raising kids and not wanting them to do better than you. Like what kind of fucking human being?
Yeah,
are
it's
you,
like, oh,
right?
this is the way I had it.
Yeah.
You don't want
You know
them to
what I
have
mean?
it that way.
Yeah. Like I get certain things. Like if I had a boy that wants to fight, like, okay, like I'm going to be there. I'm going to teach you everything that I didn't know, but you're going to work for it like I work for it.
Yeah, you're not skipping.
Like-
you're not
like,
skipping the learning
I'm
process.
not paying your way. You know what I mean? So you can just train 2 days a week. Like it ain't happening. You know what I mean? You figure out how to make your own money. You figure out how to pay your way. And you go to the gym and you fucking train. I'll set you up at the gyms. I'll get you, you know what I mean? I'll get you set up, but I'm not giving it to you. Because
No,
at
'cause
what point does it become spoiled,
Yeah,
right?
because easy come, easy go,
Yep.
right? And I feel a lot of us try to skip that learning process and get to the
Definitely.
end goal.
And in this fucking business, there's one thing you can't do, and that's skip levels.
Well, the
You
shortcuts,
cannot.
the shortcuts don't give you anything, especially in something like this where you can literally learn
Yep.
through every spar session, every training session. There's learning moments,
Oh, yeah.
and
You
the
will
more we
get-
skip those,
you will get a rude awakening very, very quickly, right? And it might take, a couple fights for it to happen. And you might get away with it for a while, but at some point you're gonna run into somebody that's gonna, whether it's in the gym or whether it's in the cage, you know what I mean? You're gonna run into somebody that's gonna make you pay the piper.
dude, I read a lot of books, and it sucks that I can't remember the title of this book, but he talks about winning.
Yeah.
He was Kobe Bryant's coach, the guy who.
That's the guy that AJ
So
was
okay, that
interviewed
guy.
and stuff. Yeah.
So he has a book where he talks about how winning is, it's never yours.
No.
It's never yours. Once you get it, it's back to
Yep.
it's back to up for grabs.
Yep.
You know, and it's like climbing a mountain. Once you get to the top of a mountain, there's another mountain to be climbed.
Yep. Exactly.
You
You
know?
you get your hand raised in a cage. That's it. The next time, like you won that night, it's your night to enjoy it. But the next night, it starts.
Starts all
You know what
over
I mean?
again.
Like you gotta keep that rhythm going, and it's so fucking hard to do this in this game. Like me and Kalma talked about it, like because he put 7 in a row together, and I was like, as well as I do how hard it is to put 7. And he's like, fuck yeah,
Put
He's
2
like,
in a row, 3 in a row.
exactly. And some guys can do it, and some guys can't, But like you said, it's just it starts over. Like it's never a guarantee. And one of the things that Chael Sonnen said when he was on The Ultimate Fighter was, the number one option's failure, right? That's the most ready option. That's the most doors wide open. That's the number one pick, failure, right? You can opt out anytime. You give up, you can tab out, you can be done at any time. Failure's the option. And then I'm speaking life here. I'm not speaking just in a cage. Like no matter what it is you want to do. Right, you want to start your own landscaping business, failure, right? Things aren't going right for the first month. Fuck it, I'm done. You know what I mean? It's what you do with that is what's going to make you, or break you, right? Learning how to fail. And that's why I tell everybody, like, that has young kids, put your kids in wrestling. Like, why? Why do you suggest wrestling? Because your kid's going to learn how to lose, right? You're going to learn how to lose. Nobody has started out as a kid in wrestling and went undefeated their whole entire life. Not a single person has done it. You're going to learn how to lose, and you're going to learn how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, right?
Where are the
two
lessons
best
learned?
things.
Where are the
Yep.
lessons learned?
Yep.
Through failure.
Exactly.
Startup businesses.
Yep.
Starting new careers, buying new houses, whatever, doing something new and
Yep.
failing. I think success comes from the relentless pursuit of your goal, right?
Yep.
If you fail
Consistency.
and you quit, that's a failure unless you learn something that you can apply to something else.
Yep.
But like learning happens through the valleys, no pun intended.
Big time. Yeah.
Big
time.
valley guy over there. But
Yeah.
that's where you learn, man. If you're always succeeding, you're always at the top, you're always winning, that's going to come crumbling down if it's not built on a foundation of learning.
Yep. at some point, you, like I said, you're going to pay the piper. Nothing lasts forever, right? Nothing lasts
Especially in
forever.
this industry.
Yeah. It's short-lived in this industry, but nothing lasts forever. And there's always going to be other options. Like I'm at the point in my career, where I know in reality, I have less time in front of me than what's behind me. You know what I mean? Majority of my career is behind me at this point, right? Do I feel like I have a few more good years left in me? Yes, absolutely, right? Am I going to push it till I can push it? Yep, absolutely. But one of the main things that I want to do is I want to leave this career with my health, right? Because my next step, I already know what it's going to be. It's going to be running the business, excavating business. It's hard work. It's hard labor, right? I got to be able to physically be able to do it, right? So I have to leave this career with my health.
What does this PFL win for you mean for you? What does it mean? This PFL fight, I don't want to say win. What does this PFL fight mean to you? And what do the next couple years look like for you?
I mean, the PFL, it's my whole life. Like the fight, the opportunity, it's what I, since I was a kid, dreamed of doing, dreamed of becoming, right? So it's everything that I ever wanted, and it's here, and it's in arm's reach. I'm a little under 2 weeks away from it, right? And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, right? But yeah, it's everything that I ever wanted. So what's next? I guess is going to depend on what's after this or what happens in this fight, right? Big win, great. Would love a shot in the $500,000 tournament. If they think I need to end up doing more work, we'll do more work. You know what I mean? If they don't want to see me fight again, we can fight again. As far as near future, number one thing is I need to take a couple weeks after this because, man, if anybody is sacrificed, it's my wife and my child. Like, because I'm gone all week long, all day. Like, I'm up at 6:30, out the door, working till 4 o'clock or whatever, get home, leave the house at 5 to go to the gym, don't get home from the gym till 9 o'clock. Like, I'm losing this pretty much since we brought my daughter home the first 2 months, like, of her life. You know what I mean? I haven't been there. And it kills me to think about it, and my wife struggles with it some. And it's hard. It's hard for her. It's hard for me, but we both agreed to do this, and we both knew what was going into it. And so, like, for me, ideally, directly after this fight, I'm going to take 2 to 3 weeks and just be with my wife, be with my kid. You know what I mean? Get some things done around the house that I want to do, and you know what I mean? Just move on, like, forward, and just take a breath, right? This is one of the things I've learned the older I got in this sport is to take a break. Right? Take a time back, take a step back. Like when I was a little bit younger, when I was 25 years old, if I took a week off, like I felt guilty. You know what I mean? I felt like I had to be in the gym 6-7 days a week the whole time. Like I just felt guilty about it. But now that I'm older and I understand it better and I know how to approach it better, like I said, you pay attention in this sport and you be the sponge, like you'll start making smarter decisions, right? And you listen to smarter people. And, I'm not afraid. I've taken a month off after a fight before. Took a whole month off, come back from the gym, and people in the gym, like, how the fuck do you get better after being out of here a month? Like, you know what that means? I needed it, right? Yeah. My body needed it.
No, and it's something to be said about having a supportive environment, a supportive wife, a supportive family, a supportive friend group, right? Because, that's one thing that people battle with. It's like, I'm giving up something to do something else. Yeah. But in reality, if you both have the same mindset and goal going into this, you're not giving it up. It's like you're both in this, doing it, and then that next chapter, those 2 weeks, man, I'm sure your wife is gonna appreciate that more than words can describe. Yeah,
definitely. It's just, it's hard, man. It's it can get extremely hard. Like, you're already stressed to the gills with training and getting ready for a fight, let alone your physical health involved in it. And then working for yourself, you know what I mean? I got to go chase down my own work. I got to do the bids. I got to do the estimates. I got to go do the job. I got to do the finish up. I got to do the billing. Like, I got to do all of it, right? So, and if there's a mistake on a job, you got to go fix it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. And all that adds up after a while. And, you know, when like you said, you want to be able to have all that time with your family and your kids, but you also, you're chasing greatness, right? And that's the cost, right? That's the cost of trying to become great at something.
How do you balance having your own business that you're so involved in and then training for a big fight that you're so involved in?
Yeah.
How does that balance look like?
Prioritize, really. I mean, I know the morning is work, right? I know the evening is the gym. So no matter where I'm at, if I got to start early, I start early. And granted, when I'm in camps like this and I'm working with my nutritionist, Ange, and I'm doing everything, like I have the ungodly amount of energy. I wake up early, ready to go, wide awake. You know what I mean? I have energy all day long. I get to the gym, I'm freaking full of energy. So that helps me, right? So I'm getting up early. I know I got something to accomplish, right? And I kind of do it on a time frame. I should be able to have this done by this time, be able to move on to this by this time, should be able to accomplish this today. I know I got to leave the house at 5 o'clock to make it to the gym. I got to be done by, if I'm working a half hour from home, right? I got to be done by 4 o'clock. I get home by 4:30. Like I got to leave the job. Like I make it a priority, right? It sucks. Absolutely. It sucks because you just want to go with the flow. I feel like my whole life is racing the clock, right? All I'm doing is looking at the time, being like, hope I can be there. Just like this morning, woke up like, okay, it's 2 hour and 21 minute drive. Like if I leave at 9:30, that'll put me there. I was like, I better leave at 9 because I'm not that guy that shows up late, right? Like I better leave at 9. I know you got shit to do after this, right? And you got to respect people's time. So like I got to leave at 9. I'll get there early. It ain't going to hurt me to leave fucking 30 minutes early. So I leave at 9. I get here early, right? So it worked out perfectly.
Worked out great.
Because I don't know where this place was. You know what I mean? Am I going to get lost, circle the block 18 times?
Most people do.
Yeah.
You pulled right in.
No, your directions were right on the money. Yeah.
I try, man. And I still get people lost. And I'm like, man, I got to touch up these directions.
Yeah. I don't know my way around this city. You know what I mean? I know how to get through it and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm not a Pittsburgh native. I'm the Pittsburgh stepchild. So.
Same. I moved here 7 years ago, and I still the city's an animal.
Yeah.
What advice do you have? You know, you talk about a lot of these up and coming fighters coming up. What advice do you have, having been in the game as long as you have, having learned the things you have? What advice do you have for someone who's starting off and wants to make this a thing to them? They want to make this a career.
Number one's figure out if you really do or not, right? Because I've heard, I don't know how many people say, yeah, I want to do this, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's getting hard. My girlfriend's bitching at me at home. You know, I can't do this tonight. We got to go. I got to take the night off to get my car inspected. Now, you can get your car inspected when you're not at the gym. When it doesn't have to be when you're supposed to be at the gym, right? That's what I mean, prioritize, right? If it's what you want to do, it's got to be a priority, right? So number one is figure out if it's actually what you want to do, right? Number two, if it is what you want to do, it takes everything you have. It takes your whole life, everything from you. You got to be willing to give that, right? If you are willing to give that and you are in a room, be a sponge, learn, ask questions, watch people, watch on your own time, dedicate yourself to it. 3 is the consistency, or 4 is the consistency, right? No matter what, make sure you make it there in time. Just show up, do your push-ups. You win, show up. You lose, show up. You get hurt, show up. You think I was not in the gym whenever I was in a cast because I had surgery? You asked the guys at the gym if I wasn't in there. I took that week off, the week of the surgery. I was right back in the gym. I was sparring motherfuckers with one hand. I'm not bullshitting you. That kid we called Little God, he was like, the first time I sparred, you beat the shit out of me with one hand. Like, I'm working on what good hand I have. You know what I mean?
Use what you got.
Yeah. You take, you know what I mean? You take the cards that you're dealt and you play that hand.
And that's huge. That's huge that most people overlook because, you know, when I wanted to start the podcast, one of my obstacles was stuff I've put on myself, right? Like, I got to have the best cameras. I got to have the best mics. I got to have the best graphic. And it's like, no, use what you got to get started. And through that, you develop.
Yeah. So even in business, like with the excavating business, which is a fucking expensive business to operate
Equipment
and maintain.
alone.
Yeah. You see people, they're like, oh yeah, I want to start like with snow. Like, I think we buy a new truck, we buy a new machine. Say, all right, well, there's fucking $80K for a new skid steer. There's $100K, $80K for a new excavator. You need a truck and a trailer. If you want to go buy a new one, you're looking at $60, $70K for a truck, probably $25, $30K for a trailer. Like, okay, now you're in the fucking hole, $300,000, right?
You don't have a bid.
Now you got to go out and now Pittsburgh money's different, right? Out here rather than back home, but now you got to go out and charge a customer, say $100 an hour, and they're like, okay, we go out and charge this customer $100 an hour, and it's an 8-hour job. Okay, I just made $800. That's awesome. Yeah, I made $800 in a day. Cool. Put that towards that $300,000.
You made zero,
right? Exactly. You're still paying off the debt. Same thing as in the sport, right? You just you take what you have and you make it work, right? And you become that. In excavating business, I've been fortunate. My dad's been in business for 35 years, right? We got 16 pieces of equipment. He's bought, and he's not a borrow money kind of guy. If he needs it, you know what I mean? If he wants it, he better have the money to buy it. You know what I mean?
It's old school mentality.
And he gave me that mentality. I'm 33 years old and I never had a car payment in my life, right? I keep buying beaters and junkers and I fix them up. I run them for a few years. I get another one, right? But yeah, you take what you have to work with, right? And you create it. The one who does the most with the least, that's the guy to follow. That's the guy to learn from, right there.
When you're not training, right? Because you're a human, right? What do you do? What do you do for fun? What are things you like to do outside of the gym?
I'm a gearhead, man. I love my cars. Just grew up around them. My father raced when I was a kid back in, I think he started in like 97, raced up to like 03 or 04. Dirt track, oval racing. And so I was always around that. He's got old cars, 69 Camaros. Like, that's my favorite. Was always my favorite car. Old trucks, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I was always into that as a kid. I built my first truck when I was 14, which was a Chevy S10 that Dad bought me for $200. And he said, you can make it what you want. If you want to fix it up, I'll help you fix it up. He's like, if you want to let it like it is, you can let it like it is. It's your choice. Of course, I wanted to fix it up, painted this thing all up and stuff. Years later, down the road, pulled the motor out of it, built a small block Chevy. Myself, built this motor myself, put this engine in it, and built like a 300 and some horsepower, 283 small block Chevy that's in it. And, I still have that truck to this day. It sits under my carport with a cover on it. That was my first vehicle.
Dude, that's wild.
Suzuki Samurai, like off-road. Greg Rudolph, shout out to Greg. He'll appreciate this Suzuki Samurai. Built a Suzuki Samurai, lifted it and stuff, did a motor swap in it, like for off-road and stuff. My dad, he built a rat rod, and he's in the process of building another rat rod. And rat rod's built from the ground up. Like, that is literally, you work with what you have. Like, if you got a toilet paper holder, that's your door handle. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Like, do you got a spark plug somewhere? Like, my dad made his dash lights out of spark plugs somehow. And like this winter, I built a truck for work. We had a dump truck, or it was a box truck. We took the box off of it. I shortened the frame. I put a couple of stuff on Instagram, like when I was working on it. Shortened the frame, slid the axle head, bought a bed in the junkyard, bought an engine in the junkyard because I had a gas motor with an automatic. I wanted a diesel with a standard. I built this truck for 2 winters. First winter, I built the bed, made a dump truck out of it. Next winter, which was this past winter, I did the motor swap and everything. Built this truck exactly how I wanted it, put the set seats in it I wanted, right transmission I wanted, did all this work, all winter long working on it, getting it exactly how I wanted it. So when I go out and use it, like, it's exactly what I need, exactly what I want. Well, while I'm working on this, Dad comes over. He's like, hey, I want to go up to the pasture field. because we got junk cars sitting up every day. I was like, why? He was like, I want to take that body off that 2-door tracker. I was like, what are you doing? I got an idea. So we go up with a skid loader, lift this thing up, unbolt it, lift the body off of it, take the chassis down, put it in the garage. Brings this old, rotted up 1934 Hudson Terraplane. I know I'm probably speaking gibberish.
Hey, I'm following a little bit.
Which is a rare car. You don't see many of them. These things are like a 4-door sedan, I think. And brings this thing down, and it's all rotted away and shit. And we cut this thing apart, and we put it together, and we make a pickup cab out of what was left out of this body, and like used half the doors and like welded it. This thing was like working with a fucking spaghetti noodle, flopping around and like I don't have any pictures of it. I have to get some pictures of it and post on it and stuff. But he's building this rat rod, put this body together, and he's putting it on this Geo tracker and making like his own little rat rod, putting a little 4.3 V6 in it with an automatic. Like, so doing that stuff, man, is just it gets me going, right? Like I always like to take something and put a motor on it that it's not supposed to be on, right? Like I want to take a go-kart, I want to take a 2-stroke like Banshee motor or something, put on a fucking go-kart and go down the road at 80 mile an hour.
You have to put a wheelie bar on that thing.
Exactly. Like I always do shit like that, and it's just constant.
It's so interesting to me that people can do shit like that,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because like I used to change my oil back in the day, dude, and I thought I was like
The man,
yeah. Dude. Like, and now I can't even change oil in my car because everything's so different. And now you have to move this to move this to move this to get to the. I'm like, this. I'll just pay someone to do it.
Yeah.
And there's motherfuckers like you.
I've been
just building their own cars.
I've been welding. Like I've been welding since I was probably 11 or 12 years old. Like I was asked my dad, like, how do I weld? He's like, the only way you're gonna learn how to weld is grab the welder and start welding. So I grabbed the welder and put something in the vise. Zzz, oh, that looks like shit. Zzz, so getting comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Now to the point where I can weld, big stick, whatever.
It's like big puzzles.
Yeah.
You're putting shit together, and then when it works, you're like, oh.
I always say I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. Right? I can do concrete work. I can do, excavation work. I can do carpentry work.
A man.
I remodeled my whole house. When I bought my house that needed remodel, I did all of it. When I got the stuff that I didn't know, I called somebody a friend of mine that knew more than I did. They'd come in. I'd pay attention to what they did. Like I didn't know how to do drywall, mud, and shit. I had my cousin come over and he showed me how to do it. Did the kitchen. I took off, did the rest of the house myself. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to hang cabinets. He come over, helped me hang the cabinets. He knew how to do the crown molding and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I have a lot of influential people.
It's a perishable skill that a lot of people don't do anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like. It's crazy. We push college, but half of us can't even turn our hot water heaters back on.
You know what college is all about? You know what? You know why employers want you to go to college? This is my opinion. They want you to go to college for 4 years. They don't give a shit about that piece of paper. They care that you show up every day for 4 years at an exact time and complete a simple task. Going to college for 4 years shows an employer that you did that, right? Going to college for 4 years and getting a degree shows an employer that you were willing to show up on time, you were willing to complete simple tasks, and you were willing to see through the project, right?
Yeah, and then through that, you have to learn organization.
That little certification paper, like that don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? And like in my field, what I do, like we had a guidance counselor that heavily pushed college. And I was like, she said, you need to go to a trade school then. I said, why would I go to a fucking trade school and spend money when I'm going to learn it from my dad?
We got a trade school at home.
Yeah.
we got it at home.
Like I grew up differently. You know what I mean? It wasn't like college wasn't I wasn't college material. That's what my dad always tells everybody. He's like, yeah, my boys, they weren't college material.
No, you're always working with your hands. You were learning on the job.
Exactly.
You can say on the job training at 18 for 6 years. I got on the job training.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're going to see, because and you see it horribly in the construction field, for every guy retiring, for every 7, it's like 4 or 7 guys retiring, one's replacing them. And you're going to see the switch where public schools start pushing kids to go to trade schools because we have all this infrastructure and all these people to design it, but we ain't got no one to build it, right? An engineer can design it, but 9 times out of 10, they can't put the fucking hammer to the nail for it. You know what I mean? Because they don't know how to build it. They can tell you how to build it, but they don't know how to go about it and do it themselves.
Yeah, not to knock the engineers, but then it's like the application of it.
Yep.
You know, it sounds good on paper. Like I used to do highway construction.
Yep.
We were doing this highway in Meadville. We did all of North Street, right? And our project manager's telling them like, hey, there's a lot of old gas lines that haven't been cut. Like, we need to go deeper. We need to go deeper. Well, the engineer's like, no, this is how it works. Did we get halfway up the project and we run into an intersection with just fucking mess of different lines that we just couldn't cut. We had to go all the way back, dig probably 10 feet deeper, which now required shoring, required all this extra shit. And then we had to do it all over again. So the job ended up costing double the money because they had it on paper, but they didn't listen to the person in the hole.
There's a little fine print on the prints when the engineer designs it. It says must be field verified, right? So that's how they cover their ass, right? And they always say that an engineer will jump over 500 virgins just to fuck a technician. You know what I mean? But yeah, you see it constantly. You know what I mean? Those guys. They can tell you how to do it. They can look at it on a piece. And I always said, like, just because you can draw a line with a pencil between it on a print doesn't mean I can walk in there with a machine and dig it. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's true.
The guy that knows the job the best is the guy that's on hand doing the job, right?
Something to be said about the blue collar workers. Yeah. I mean, it keeps the country going, right?
Yep. That's just like
appreciate your service.
That's my whole thing on like college and stuff like that. It's like, if that's your thing, that's what you want to do, great, go do it. I mean, I ain't knocking anybody to do it, but it's not for everybody, right? And don't feel pressured into you have to do it. 90% of the kids go to college and get a degree and then come out and don't use it.
They go into an entry level job that doesn't require it.
Right. The whole business degree, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm just going for business. It's like, okay, well, I mean, you do whatever you want to do, but, you're going to come out and get a job working at the paper mill. Did you really need to spend $100,000 on that business degree? Like, don't fall into that trap. Like, and it's like I said, I'm 33 years old, never had a car payment. Like, everybody gets out of high school and the first big boy purchase, big girl purchase is they think they got to buy themselves a new car.
Well, they got to get to work reliably.
Why? Right? Why go spend that? Like, especially in today's world where you can't go buy a fucking car for $50,000.
Well, now a car has become a regular payment.
Yep.
Even cell phones. Cell phones are a regular pay. You have to make a payment on your cell phone.
Exactly. That pissed me off so bad because I was like, no, I want to buy a phone. And they were like, oh, well, you said it. I was like, no, I want to pay you for the phone. No, you could. We set it up as a payment
plan.
Yeah. No, motherfucker, I want to pay you. I got cash in my pocket.
For $100, you can buy a cell phone. Boom, $100, touch screen, everything.
Yep.
Now it's like $1,000.
Yep.
For an iPhone.
I know. More than that. It's like $1,700 bucks.
I'm
like the newest iPhone. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
dude, and then what happened? We pay it.
Yeah.
We pay it because we have to.
Exactly. Same as, like I said, I mean, you get into that trap where you go out and you buy a new car, or like you're 18, 19, 20 years old and you think you're going to buy a new car. A new car is the worst investment you could ever possibly make.
Dude, it depreciates immediately
Instantly.
after you drive it.
All you got to do is sign that paper, and it depreciates. You probably knock $4 or $5 grand off of it just by signing that title. A brand new car. Yeah, exactly.
You'll
never get out of it what you got in it, right? Very rarely can you flip a car, turn around, and get out of it what you got in it.
That's true. After this episode airs, I like to finish with this question.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of things, learned a lot about you. After this episode airs, people have listened to it. They shut it off. What's one message, if you could pick one, you want people to take from listening to this episode today?
Hard work pays off. Dreams do come true. Tough times don't last, but tough some bitches do.
Ooh, that's going on a T-shirt. That's going on a T-shirt. No, I appreciate you. Where can people follow you online if they want to, follow your fight journey, your excavation journey, whatever it may be? Where can people follow you online?
They can check me out on Facebook. Just my name under Facebook.
You just dated yourself there, my guy.
What's that?
Facebook.
Yeah.
You just aged yourself.
Instagram at Ethan Goss MMA, and then I also have X, Twitter at Ethan_Goss. All the other shit, TikTok stuff, that's all over my head. That's all shit I never got involved with.
He's a 50-year-old man at heart.
Yeah, I am. I literally am. If I can pay cash, I'm paying cash. You know what I mean? I ain't into this card shit and stuff.
I appreciate it. You don't have Bitcoin.
No,
no
I ain't into this
Bitcoin.
Apple Pay and all this other stuff.
Venmo?
Yeah, I got PayPal.
Okay. Oh,
PayPal was before Venmo,
yeah.
right?
I think PayPal bought Venmo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, wife's got Venmo, but I got PayPal.
Oh, bro, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to jump on. I encourage you guys to follow him. He's fighting at PFL August 21st. I think this airs after that. So,
Yep.
Watch his fight, listen to the episode, and learn about the man in the cage.
Yep. Tune in August 21st. Main card starts at 9. ESPN Plus. You know what I mean? Watch me do my thing.
Well, bro, I appreciate you. This is the one with Ethan Goss, and we're out. Later.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate being here.
Anytime.